American Horror Story is back. After 19 long months, Ryan Murphy has finally delivered the beautiful love child we need so very much. And me, the Fat Mantis, is going to cover every single episode. Let's face it, American Horror Stories does not count, and I hope to God is not even canon, but let's get into it. Now, before I get into this spoiler review, I would like you to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, the last one is very important. It's important that you get updated to what the voice of the Fat Mantis is going to be delivering to you in this coming year. I think we're going to have a very good one, and I'm glad to start off with horror reviews. Now, let's get into it. This is part one of the double feature. I thought that originally they were going to break the episodes down into 2 half-an-hour segments, and we're going to watch both stories simultaneously, but it looks like they're going to do 6 episodes of one and then 6 episodes of the other one. So here we are in Red Tide. The story starts off with the Gardner family. We have Harry, Doris, and Alma. A man, wife, and daughter are driving to the new home that they recently purchased. This actually mirrors the opening sequence to American Horror Story Murder House Episode 1. And so I think that they're doing a lot of callbacks to that very story. A callback to the original American Horror Story. I love it. However, the story goes very differently. Instead of getting a haunted house, and I'm glad it's not haunted. I hope they leave ghosts alone. Sometimes I think the series tends to rely on ghosts and people being trapped in a certain place too often, too heavily. I'd like to see a story just without a ghost being present. And we go there, and I would actually say that episode 1 was, it was fun. It was a little slower paced. It had a lot of elements similar to that driving to their destination thing, where there's a lot of callbacks to old sagas, old series of American Horror Story. There were a lot of things that just kind of reminded me of other seasons, and I was like, I hope this isn't some rehash. Kind of went a little slow, and I will say, one thing that was hard to believe is that there were too many weird occurrences. The mother and daughter get chased by a pale-skinned crackhead who seemed like he was trying to eat them, and he tried to break into their house. Afterwards, literally a day later, the father finds bodies on the beach. Now, at that point, I would have already left. I don't think anyone would really stay. However, unrealistically, like a lot of horror movies, they stay in this very dangerous situation. And the third time, the crackhead breaks in and he has to murder him, literally beat him to death with like a cane or something. This type of trauma, no one would ever stay. I feel like Ryan Murphy pushed the envelope a little too much. I don't think anyone would stay another minute in that house or in that location. The trauma alone would want somebody to leave. Now, if you're able to get over that little hump, the story is well worth it, because after that, once it gets to the point, the meat and potatoes of the story, which is the pill and the hypothetical question, what would you do if you were offered a pill that could make you uncannily great at your job, your passion, your art, whatever it is, and successful with money to boot? However, you have to kill at least one person a week in order to maintain that. Would you do it? That's an important part of this story, and I love watching it. And I love watching the writer's descent into madness and drug addiction. I thought it was very interesting that they did a lot of parallels to what it's like to being a writer in Hollywood, and how they suck the life force out of other people to create their own material. And that, you know, the zombies that are walking around their town are very similar to all the people who move out to LA trying to become a writer, but end up just becoming a drug-addicted asshole. It was great. Finn Wittrock, I'm going to tell you, does not do a good job of playing a straight man. I don't mean sexually. I mean, you know, old school straight man. Just like a normal dude, I do not think that he lasts long in that. However, once he starts doing the drugs, he becomes the character actor we all know and love. The most handsome character actor there is, mind you, but still. Doris Lily Robbie, doing it great. We know that when you take the pill and you don't have actual talent, you become one of those crackhead things. I believe they were referred to by Evan Peters' character as a flesh phantom. I have predictions that Doris might end up having that fate. They have the daughter Alma, and I loved her transformation in the second episode. Then we have Karen, played by Sarah Paulson. First, I thought that she might be a hypodermic Sally ripoff, but no, she plays a decrepit, disgusting homeless woman, and yet somehow is still the most elegant, most lovely, psychotic homeless woman ever. Truly charming, truly beautiful. I really love her character. More on her in a little bit. We've got the sheriff, who hasn't played a lot, but I believe in terms of theory crafting, we've got to get right into that. And finally, Mickey, played by Macaulay Culkin. Great to have him back. lovable, amazing character. And the scene in episode 2 with him and Karen, I think it's clearly they're in love with each other. They're having a love story of like the opposite of what we expect. They're dirty, they're homeless, they're disgusting. She can't love anyone physically. He loves anybody for a dime or a nickel. And yet somehow you're feeling that energy off of them. I really, really I'm enjoying that one. Ultimately, I believe this story becomes as addictive as the pill once the actual pill is introduced to the story. It's also a new great take on vampires. I'm going to ultimately give this episode a 92%. I'm going to ultimately give these first 2 episodes 92%. Now let's get into theory crafting and spoilers. So let's start with Karen. Karen seems to be a modern version of Renfield. As this is a modern vampire story with a twist, she is the modern version of Renfield from Dracula, a decrepit psychopath with problems who still serves her master even though she hates her master. It's fascinating stuff. But I wonder, where did she get all her diseases? What is her past? And it seems as if she knows a lot about the pill and the bloodsuckers. Now I offer this. Is it a possibility that Karen was once addicted to the drug? That she has experience with the drug. That's why she hates it and people on it so much. Maybe she truly hates what she had to do on the drug. That's my theory number 1. Theory number 2, we have the sheriff. And what's strange is, around that area, there seem to be many murders. They claim that they murder 1 person a week when they're there during the winter seasons. And yet, there seem to be no reports of it, no evidence on the internet of it, or anything like that. What I believe is it's possible that the sheriff may be a vampire hunter. She may be searching to destroy them, and she has helped covering things up. After all, if they're cops and they're patrolling the area, how have they not seen the pale-skinned phantoms running around? I mean, it's truly odd. Now, something interesting happened during a Karen scene earlier. She said she serves Belle Noire because Belle Noire can keep the flesh phantoms off her. Is it possible that the more successful, more powerful vampires have control of the lesser ones and they actually control them? After all, there had to be some sort of organization who sharpened their teeth for them. Remember, they don't naturally grow those teeth. They had to have them filed down. Next, we have Austin Summers, played by Evan Peters. He is a delight. Evan Peters always finds a way to make every one of his characters on American Horror Story drastically different from the last. And the fact that he's a a very New York playwright, day drinker is just so amazing. I just really love him every time he's on screen. A+ as usual, Evans. Next, we have a Doris. Now, it is interesting that Doris has mentioned Lyme disease at least 5 times. She also is sickly, seems to have, a weak stomach, headaches, and needs to take frequent naps, while sometimes forgetting to watch her own child. I think it's possible that she already has Lyme disease. Now, Lyme disease, on the most severe cases, give you an allergic reaction to red meat. I wonder how that's going to tie in with her and her baby. Now, remember, the whole baby thing is they've already put on the table that sometimes these vampires crave a full baby to themselves. And so the question is, will their baby, once born, be in danger by their own father or sister? Who knows? We'll say, although it will be great in a horror sense to watch a baby be eaten, I don't know if my stomach can handle it. But I honestly think this is an amazing episode. I can't wait to watch more. I am sitting on the edge of my seat and I can't not wait. What do you guys think? Please let me know down in the comments. What are your thoughts? Who are your favorite characters? Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to keep tuning in to Voice the Fat Mantis for more American Horror Story updates and more shenanigans throughout this fall. Until next time, ciao for now.